Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Adam Steele for Hot Pole Studios, and today we're going to be talking about that Overdrive plugin that you just saw, which is the Nobels ODR-1 from Lancaster Audio. So this one surprised me a little. This is the ODR-1, and I have used a real Nobels ODR-1 before. I don't own one because they're quite pricey, although I believe there's a reissue now. But this really interested me. Warren and Glenn got in contact and said, hey, we've got this new Overdrive, do you want to check it out? And I was like, yes, please, I want to check it out. So I'll show you exactly what I've got going on here. So I've got the ODR-1, which I'm going to turn off for a second, and you'll hear that my guitar sounds like this. So I am running a very slightly crunchy amp. I am using this wonderful guitar from Vola, which deserves its own video and shall get one in the very near future. And it's a cracking guitar. It does the whole HSS thing. Yeah, so it's got a slightly stratty kind of neck pickup-y sound with that kind of... And then I can go all the way to a full humbucker and go... and everywhere in between. So I've got that, and I'm going into roll camera 2, the Hughes and Kettner Black Spirit 200. It's in the crunch channel right now, but with the gain really low. The gain's really low, and the way that I'm running it is I'm running out a speaker cable under the floor to that Zilla 4x12, which has the Lewitt Audio DTP 640 Rex on one side, and the Extinct Audio Black Ops ribbon on the other side. And those together, without the ODR-1, sound like this. It's a little bit of reverb in the amp as well. And sounds pretty nice. But then you start getting clever and adding in the Nobels. So, without further ado, let's turn on the Nobels on the middle pickup and go from this. Let's just turn off the special features for now, yes? And use it exactly as is. So, I'll leave the spectrum at the top. Level... Let's start with the level sounding relatively at unity and bring the drive in from 0 and just add a little. So we start with this. From this. So it seems that by default, with no extra drive added, it's thickening the signal somewhat, giving us a bit of a mid-push. It's not taking out any of the low end. And the guys at Lancaster have added a bass cut button so that you can specifically take out low end like a Tube Screamer would. If I click that button in, I'll probably get less low end. Nice. Now, most people that I know who use a Nobels don't turn the drive up particularly high. And I'm going to turn that off because I'm very busy right now. Sorry about the interruption. So, the drive, I don't know many people who turn the ODR-1 up very high because you don't need to. You go from this very quickly. And you can hear there's a significant amount of background noise in there. That's partly because I'm sat right next to all the monitors. If I was actually tracking guitar, I would move back in the room a little and this would happen. As you can hear there, all the noise really is coming from RF interference, especially when using single coils. If I'm on the bridge pickup here and I go to split coil mode, yeah, so it's not the pedal that's making the noise, it's very much my setup here. I'm using a Simple Way J1 DI box, which is very high quality, very nice. And I've made sure everything's properly grounded and ground lifted and everything in the right places. And so the way I'm doing this is I'm going from the Vola straight to the DI. And so that top row that you can see here, that's the DI. I am hitting it a little bit hard with the humbucker there, but I've set it for kind of single coil, so I'll get this when I play. And that's running through this Nobels preamp pedal, overdrive pedal emulation out to the actual amp and then out to the cabinet. And that's what you're hearing, and that's what I'm hearing, is these three channels. So let's just name these quickly, because these should be the Black Ops ribbon. They should be the DTP 640's dynamic element and the 640's condenser element. Helps when you don't mash the keys. But yes, this pedal then, if I turn this off and turn it on, very thick, very full, very grrr. Even with the bass cut is what happens when you run this at 9 volts. Because pedal runs at 9 volts. There's this thing called tolerance modeling, and I can just hit randomize a couple of times. And the reason for that is if you had 3 or 4 guitarists all with different rigs and exactly the same pedal, it's not exactly the same pedal because every one of these that's made has slight differences because the components have a slight tolerance. So this shouldn't really sound any different to your ears, but if yeah, so it doesn't really sound any different, but the idea is that if you're stacking multiple of them in a mix, then if it's a virtual pedal and it's the same virtual pedal every time, you're going to get these frequency build-ups that are not nice. If you can slightly randomize things, then the tiny, tiny little peaks that you're going to get on each version of the pedal will probably sit in slightly different frequency ranges, and the whole thing will mesh a lot better. Now, the thing that I'm really excited about is the voltage. So this is quite a kind of fluffy, chunky overdrive, and we're at 9 volts right now. But it's been modeled to go from 9 volts up to 18 volts, or even down as low as 5. So let's start on the neck pickup, going from 9 to 18 volts. Right, so neither is better than the other, but it sounds to me like the 9 volt, which also is when voltage is unticked, it's just going to go for 9 volt default, is a bit thicker, a bit chewier, whereas 18 volts is cleaner. Now, what gets interesting is when I go down from 9 volts. So you can start with the kind of the dead battery sound. So if I go from 9 volts down to, let's say, 8, I can go from... And you'll notice that the noise floor comes up when we engage voltage below 9. Because if you've ever run a pedal with like starved voltage or a dead battery, the noise that comes out isn't as loud. So you have to compensate for that, usually by turning the gain up somewhere else. So the plugin does that for us, which is great. Here's 8 and 9 volts. When the tick box is in, we're on 8 volts. When it's off, we're on 9. So here's 8 and 9. Very cool. So we could definitely get that dead battery fizzy fuzzy sound. And I'll probably be using this a lot, especially for that low voltage style sound, because I'm always wary to do that with real pedals. But if I can get what Lancaster claim is a perfect plugin, that they said, and I believe them, that they would not rest with modeling this plugin until you could switch between the real one and the software one and not be able to tell which is which. At that point, I can stick this either before a virtual amp or even before a real amp. And that is going to be absolutely useful to me, and hopefully it'll be useful to you. The plugin right now is $40-something, which I know for a pedal plugin, that's not the cheapest. There are things out there that are free, of course. There are things out there that are less expensive. But it sounds like Lancaster have gone out of their way to make this as good as it could possibly be. And it sounds pretty realistic to me in front of a real amp and a real cab. So, yeah, well worth it. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a link in the description below. If you click that and decide to buy the plugin, that is an affiliate link. Of course, I'll see something from that, and anything is appreciated in terms of helping the channel, but hopefully you will get something out of it as well, because this is a really good sounding pedal plugin, and you can run this in front of your favorite virtual amp, or as you can see here, with a reamp box in front of your real amp. So I hope you find this useful, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, Patreon, all the rest. See you in a bit. I'm going to jam for a while. Hey everyone, that might be the end of the video, but if you fancy carrying on this conversation, we have a Discord server, link is in the description. We're also on Patreon, which is something you can really help us with. We also are on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Hot Pole Studios. See you there.